Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day to be part of this. I know it's early on my side, about 8 a.m. California time, but I think it's about dinner or cocktail time on your side. So today I wanted to introduce you and talk about our Transformer HD product. Now, before I do that, who am I? I see obviously a great number of names that I've met before over the years. I'm sorry I can't be there physically to show you the product. This is kind of the best I can do for what we have with the Zoom technology. But maybe next year we can all meet each other and have a big party. So welcome, and I really appreciate your time. Now, my name is Jon Dibble, D-I-B-B-L-E, and I have now been with Enhanced Vision of Vispero for about 23 years now, believe it or not. Some of you I've known for many, many years. And I'm one of the senior territory managers who really takes care of the Enhanced Vision brand. And just been doing this for a very long time. So with Transformer, a lot of you know the Transformer already because it was introduced a number of years ago. But what I think is helpful is to provide kind of a refresh course, give you some tips and tricks, maybe remind you of some things that maybe you forgot about or you forgot to show to customers. So I think that's kind of important. And one of the things too, just so you know, we'll try to get some questions at the end of this presentation. And I'll do my best to answer anything if I can. But if not, if we run short on time, a couple things. One is this is going to be recorded so I can send it out to you. But also, I just want you to take down my email. A number of you know Jim Pors, Jan Bloom, Stephanie Hubert, Tobias, and so forth like that. That's great. My email is jdibble, I'll spell that for you, JDIBBLE @ Vispero.com. Again, jdibble @ Vispero.com. So I encourage you to reach out to me. And if you have some questions, comments about the Transformer, please share them with me. One of the reasons why we're also doing this is because Vispero is going to be investing more time, more resources, and more money to make this product even better. So any feedback you might have, maybe we can do some things, maybe not, would be very, very helpful. So I really appreciate that. So the question is, well, first of all, what is Transformer HD? I think of Transformer HD really as an all-in-one solution. It's very, very portable. For example, I can take the unit here. I can go ahead and fold the camera in like this, fold it up like this, doing my best to make sure I'm on camera here. Very, very portable, nice and lightweight, easily transportable. Also, it is part of our family of products, which we call 3-in-1 camera. So what you can do is you can use it for, and I'll show this, of course, to you live as best as I can on the monitor. You can use it for desktop viewing. You can also point it for distance. And you can also use it if you want to point it at your face and use it for grooming or shaving or some other activity like that. The other beautiful thing about this product is its connection options. Now, this product is one of the only few products that you can connect to a Windows and Mac laptop. You can also connect it via Wi-Fi to a tablet. So this can go to an iPad or an Android tablet. I'm going to show you the iPad a little bit later. You also can go to a Chromebook. That was something new that we invented. Although there's no OCR possible on that Chromebook, we do have that connection option. And the other option we have is to a monitor. For example, I'll have, there's an HDMI port on the unit here, and I can connect it directly to a monitor. So that's a possibility as well. Plus we have, we make sure the product is compatible with a number of the third-party magnification software programs, such as ZoomText 2020, as well as Dolphin. There is work that needs to be done in order to bring the product more update with later versions. But I guess the one good thing about Vispero is that part of our brands is ZoomText, so we have all the resources in-house in order to take care of that. So that's nice. You have that compatibility as well. The other really nice thing is that with Transformer, you can buy two versions. One is the version which just has the live camera here. or you can buy the version with OCR. And this version is a little more expensive, but what it has is it has a secondary camera here. And what that is, it's a 13 megapixel dedicated full page OCR camera that you can use for reading material. And it reads in over 20 different languages. You can read in all the Western languages, English, Spanish, German, Italian, or you can also select a group of languages that is from the Asian side. So you can have a selection of languages if you wanted to read Japanese, Korean, Cantonese, simplified Chinese, and so forth like that. So you do have that possibility. So let's put that back. So what does the product come with? Well, when you get it, you get this really nice case here. And pretty much has everything you need to use it anywhere. You have a nice little case here. And what I like is it has this little fold up little pocket here. So you can use that if you have a small iPad or a laptop or something, you can put that in there. So what it comes with is you get the carrying case. It has all the cables you need. One is an HDMI cable and another is USB 3. So the USB 3 is for the laptop, HDMI is if you're connecting to a monitor. It does have a jump drive, and I'll show you that in a moment. That gives you the software, so you can download that on your laptop. Of course, it comes with a very detailed, comprehensive owner's manual, which is very, very nice. I definitely encourage you to read the owner's manual if you were to acquire this product, and if for some reason you had any technical difficulty, it'll really help you on how to solve any issues. You do also get, of course, let me go ahead and open that up. We recently changed out the battery charger for the transformer, at least for the European market. It's actually a dual charger now, so you can put both batteries in. Little USB-C connection goes right to the wall, really easy to work with. You have, all transformers come with 2 batteries. They last about 3 hours, a little bit more each. This is a little battery here. It goes into the belly of the unit, and we do give you 2 of those. So if you run out of one, you can throw in another one pretty easily. And then, of course, all of the usual things like the power supplies. So really everything you need all right here. Pretty easy. Now, what I want to show you next, I'm going to show you how the product connects to a laptop. And I kind of want to go over all of the features that the product can do, where you can customize it for your low vision client. You can change the controls, you can magnify, you can change color modes, you can do a lot of different things. I'll go through step by step on that. I've put the image as best as I can on the monitor here so you can kind of follow along. Hopefully you can see this. Again, if you have any questions, get in touch with me directly. I will make sure I answer them. If I can't answer them, I'll make sure I have somebody that does. So let me go ahead and show you how it connects to a Windows 10 laptop. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and fire this up. The laptop's already on. I have the image obviously mirrored to this display over here. Now, one of the things that the transformer comes with, which you will definitely need to use, is the software that is on this little flash drive. The software on this flash drive is everything you need to install the transformer on a Windows laptop or a Mac. So you have all that here. It's pretty easy when you go through it. You just plug and play. You hit through, usually the next. It'll ask you where you want to install the icon for the transformer. Here I do it right on my desktop, so I have easy access to it. It will also go back and ask you, when you're going through the installation process, if you do want to select that other language group. And what I mean by that, what I mentioned earlier, was you can select a group of languages that are all Asian based. So you can have the OCR read to you in Japanese, Korean, Cantonese, and so forth like that. The only languages we're not working with at this time, which some of you have reached out and asked for, is Arabic and Hebrew. Some of those type of character-based languages we just don't have the compatibility with at this time, but it may be something in the future that we can offer. We'll see, but every other language is pretty good at this time. So you install the software, and one of the things you have to do is it comes with a cable. There's a cable on the back side here, port right here. that you want to plug in for your USB 3 cable. We've already done that. Now, key thing is that this is a USB 3. It will not work with USB 2. So if you try to put it on a USB 2 laptop, you're not going to have a good, I doubt it will work. And if it does, the performance might be compromised. So USB 3 is very, very important. And I mean, this is really kind of the jet engine of a product. So you want to make sure you have a decent laptop to work with. You want to have a decent laptop to plug it into, one that has good performance characteristics. This one in particular, I have a Core i7 Intel processor, and this is a Dell laptop. This is, I think, this is my company issued laptop. So USB 3 is mandatory, and you identify a USB 3 port usually by its color or by what it says. This has a little bit of a blue color to it. There's a blue color here on my USB 3 port. I'll plug it right in. There's also usually an SS indicated on there. It stands for super speed. So, all right, so let's go ahead and fire this up and see what it looks like. Get that out of the way. 1 second here. Get a little trim of wire. Okay. So I've installed the software on my laptop desktop here. So all I need to do is I'll go ahead and open the application here. I'll double click that, and then I'll go ahead and click the transformer. Usually hear a couple sounds. Basically, that's kind of the sound that's recognizing the USB input from the transformer. Pretty easy. The key is just to get a decent laptop. Make sure you get the software downloaded to the laptop properly, and just make sure when you start everything up, don't press too many buttons. Just give it some time to warm up. What I always do is I start the application, press the power button, and then I walk away. Because you want to wait for it. You don't want to start pressing other things, or you might have some strange result. So let's get this all fired up and going. Usually takes probably 10 or 15 seconds on most laptops. So here we have the image. Let me see if I can see that. Yeah, that's okay. Not too bad. You can see my hand here. Okay. So now we have the image up on the laptop, and a couple ways you can control the transformer. One is on the unit. 2 is via drop downs and button clicks. Or 3 is hotkeys, and actually 4 is through pinching motions, which are available on like iPads and so forth like that. Now, what's cool about the transformer is that you have all the controls. You have a number of controls also on the unit itself. And for example, on the back side here, you have power button, self-explanatory. You have the color mode, so you can select high contrast, negative, positive, various color modes. This is a magnification wheel. You can just roll that left and right, move it up and down. This happens to be a freeze button, so you're going to temporarily grab the image on the screen. You can do that. This is also a locator. So if you're at high level of magnification, you lose your place, press that in, it zooms the image out to the minimum, press it again, and it zooms it back. So you can kind of find your place if you're navigating a large piece of material. These are the ports I talked about, HDMI, if you're going to a monitor. One note on the HDMI is that if you were to connect it to an HDMI, you have, of course, all the camera controls, but since you're not on a laptop, you can only control the unit here. So you don't have any software to load, you don't have any OCR, you basically just have a really nice camera connected to a big monitor like that. On this other side, this is where the battery is kept. There's a little compartment here, which I can put the battery in and lock it in. This is our light. I'll show you how that works. This is a rotate button. So if your image is not properly oriented, if you need to rotate it 180 degrees, you can do that. This is also a reset button. This is kind of nice to remember because usually I get in the habit of, sometimes if you demo this to clients or maybe you're not 100% sure if the unit's on or off, I always press this before I turn it on. So as a general rule, when I plug it, even though I probably didn't do it here, is I like to press this button and then press the power button, because then this is kind of a fail-safe, so I know it's in a fully off, fully reset state, and then I know usually when I press the power button, it's going to work properly. So that's something to consider. So that's pretty much the unit here. Let's set that over here. Okay. So, oh, and I did want to mention, I mentioned this earlier, there's a number of ways to position the camera head. And depending on if you want to use it for distance or for desktop, let me go ahead and show that to you in the live screen. So here we have our standard desktop position. And so I can see an image directly underneath the camera here. I can also point it to my face. If I wanted to do some grooming and so forth like that, I can do that. Plus the other nice thing is I can look at something in the distance. So let me go ahead and point that to the distance. I'll go ahead and magnify. And there we go. This, by the way, is my little rally monkey. I'm a baseball fan. This is their mascot. So we'll talk more about that later. And then there's another position that we have. Let me go ahead and zoom back. It's more of a kind of an upright position. You can take the camera up like this. So say if you were, if a student was in a classroom, or if you were in a more crowded environment and you needed to have a little bit more height to the camera, this is a nice position to have. Some people often forget about that. One of the key things too to remember, this is true really with any of these cameras, this lens orientation is really important, okay? So if you're going to use it for up close, high magnification, you're going to want to keep that lens shut. But in order to really take advantage of the full capabilities of the camera, if you're going to look at distance, you can see again here, it's a little out of focus. I can go ahead and open that and it will sharpen it up. So for distance, you keep it open. For up close, you keep the lens closed. Pretty simple. So let's go ahead and I want to talk about the options, but I did want to let you know about one other accessory for this product. A lot of people forget about it, but I think it's important to know, because one of the objections a lot sometimes with these kind of cameras, I like to, for example, you notice I have mine oriented in this way. Of course, you can orient the camera this way, or you can do this way if you want it on the left or right side of the laptop. That's fine too, no problem. I kind of like it this way because if I have it in this position, then I actually can move material pretty easily underneath it. I can angle the camera to really kind of pick up that whole page, which is kind of nice. However, some people don't necessarily care for the legs. They kind of get in the way sometimes. Maybe you bump into them. So how do we address that objection? Well, there's an accessory that we came up with a while back. It's an alternative leg stand for the transformer, and it's a suction base right here. And what you do to work with it is, let me just go ahead and pull that there. What I do is the legs are held on with a little magnet, okay? So what I can do is I can pull those off like that. I can go ahead and put this magnetized suction base on that. It goes on like that. Now what's key, and I have a piece of glass here, is you just press down slightly, and you go ahead and pump that up until you can't see that red line, until that red line is buried underneath that little rim there. So that's something you want to do. But notice just what I did is I now have the transformer in the proper position, and I have no legs underneath it to interrupt it. Now, the very important thing with the suction base is that it necessarily won't stay stuck, I guess that's the word, to the surface forever, because it could come loose and you don't want the unit to fall. So when you're done using the product, make sure you just remove it and put it away. And if you see any of the red line here on the little pumper thing, I always just tell people to go ahead and pump it up. But most important is that if you're going to use a suction base, that you must use it on a surface that's really, really smooth, and also a surface that's very, very clean. You can't use it on fabric. It won't stick. You can't use it on like a desk with a lot of heavy, deep wood grain and so forth like that. You need to be careful of that, because the last thing you want to do is put it on something like that and have the unit fall over. So that's just one thing you have to look out for. But a nice accessory nonetheless, and gives again the flexibility to be able to position material, move material underneath the camera without any interference from the legs. Definitely something that a lot of some of the other units that are on the market don't necessarily have. So let's go ahead and switch the legs back. When you release it, all you do is you just reach in the back and you just kind of touch the little rubber piece of the suction part, and you just kind of pull that up like that, and it releases, pops that out, there, put that back in. Pretty easy, bada bing, bada boom. There you go, now we're back. Okay, so that's a suction-based accessory. So now I want to go ahead and talk about the options and the various benefits that this product offers, and I'll do that with the laptop here, and you'll see the image moved over to this side as well. And we'll go over some, the OCR, and we'll show the iPad, of course, like that, and so we'll get to that soon. So let's go ahead and do that. So the nice thing about Transformer HD is that it can be customized, and you can control it with your laptop, and it's so very easy. So when you want to do that, there's a couple ways you can control with a laptop. And what I'll do is I'll take my little mouse and I'll hover in the upper left-hand corner. There's usually a menu option that drops down. Okay. So what I can do is I can click that, and then I have various options I can select to customize what I'm seeing on the Transformer, to customize the experience, to customize how I work with the product and so forth. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first one we have is File. Now File is one thing. Let's listen to this. I don't know if you can hear this through the video, but
CTRL+S save.
So what that does is, you can turn that down if you like, but what that does is when you hover over one of those options, it will audibly play you what the hotkey is. So if I didn't want to click, for example, with save, I can save this image. Okay, so I can save it in a file folder, access it later. For example, I say I like that image, I'll save it. Here it is. I can save it in my drive here. I can go back, and I have some other ones saved. I can go ahead and access that file at a later point in time. Very simple. There's nothing really to that. So if I remember the hotkeys and so forth, I don't have to click on that. I can do Control S. So I just did a hotkey, and you have the same option available as opposed to doing a drop down with a click. So pretty simple. So there. So that's save and recall, as we would call it. The next one is camera. Now, camera is this is an icon for the live camera. This is a camera for
CTRL+COCR camera.
For the OCR camera. You also have various other options that I'll go through. For example, on the OCR camera, I'll skip over the OCR camera, then I'll do an OCR scan for you. You have freeze, you have recording, increase or decrease magnification. You have the object locator, zoom in, zoom out, focus lock or autofocus, and then rotate, similar controls that you have on the unit. Why don't we just go ahead and go through that. So if I wanted to freeze the image, I could do that temporarily, which is nice. So say you're taking some notes, and before the board gets erased, you can grab that image and save it temporarily. We all know that feature. This is kind of nice because what that will do is this will actually allow for video recording of the product. Now we do have video recording with audio enabled on Windows laptops. On the other ones, it is something we need to work on. We do have video recording, but no sound. That is something that we're looking at to improve. But this is kind of nice because if you wanted to, again, like you would with your iPhone or iPad or other type of device, you want to record something and save it, you can do that. So that's a nice feature. Now, this is basically increase or decrease magnification. And you do that simply by just pressing the arrows here. So I can make it bigger. I can make it smaller. Pretty simple. So if I go to the big size, notice here, this is the importance of that lens, because if I didn't have that shut, you're not going to have a focused image. You got to make sure that's always shut. Okay. So the next one is the object locator.
F, find location.
Let's just go ahead and do it via hotkey. So I can do F, that. Oh, that's kind of cool. Let's move it over here. Hit it again. Zooms back. So it helps me kind of navigate the material a little bit easier. A lot of you, of course, know a lot of these features on the other products, but again, this is a refresher course or a reminder course, kind of give you some tips and tricks. And again, this is a product that we are going to be, we want to invest in, we want to make better, we want to make you guys more successful showing this product to your clients and customers. This is over here is the
CTRL+A autofocus.
so if you wanted to disable the I'm going to zoom it out. If you want to disable the autofocus, you can do that pretty simply. If you want a manual focus, you know how people sometimes are writing, you don't want the camera focusing on your hand, you want it focusing on the material. It's focus lock. And then you have rotate.
R, rotate image.
So if I hit R, I can flip the image upside down. So if for some reason it wasn't oriented properly, I can do that pretty easily. So pretty simple. The next thing is, let me go ahead and show you, and again, I just skipped over the OCR for the moment, but I'm going to go back to that. So, and we'll see how the OCR works with this product. So the next option is display. Now display's cool because I can adjust how the image looks on the screen. So if I wanted to turn the light off, I could do that. See that? The light on and off. So you don't need a lot of the surrounding lighting or additional task lighting. You do have self-contained lighting on the transformer itself. So that is definitely an advantage. But if it was really, really bright already in the room, depending on the materials that you're looking at, if they have a lot of glossy surface and you don't want any kind of glare, you can always turn that off. Pretty simple. This right here controls my display brightness. Okay, you kind of see how that works. And the next one is contrast. Now I always tell people I like the ability to adjust contrast for a couple of reasons. One is, let me go ahead and go to the next mode, which happens to be the hotkey C. I'm going to go to the next mode here. So I'm going to go to high contrast negative. Okay. Now, one of the key things with contrast is sometimes what happens when you're looking at a newspaper, this may be a little gray or not as dark. The image may not be as contrasted, for the client. So they may have some difficulty looking at the image. So with contrast, what you can do is I can kind of control this. I can make it a little bit brighter. I can make it a little bit darker. Pretty simple. And of course, you can again do that with a hotkey. So I think it's good, depending on the client's needs, depending on the customer needs, depending on your need, to know about that feature, because you can really optimize the image, which is nice. So I'll go back to the color image. Hotkey is scrolls through the various options. Let's go take that out. Now all this is here is just gives you the hotkey to go to the next mode, and all you do is press C, and it'll go to the various modes as I had just demonstrated. Here is your list of color modes. So if you want to quickly go to yellow and black or something like that, you can do that. Not an often used feature. It doesn't take that long just to hit C and go through the various modes. There's also an option in the menu to customize those modes. So if you didn't want to see all these various contrast modes, you didn't need yellow and black or black and yellow, you could turn those off. Really simple. Again, back to that customization, really tailoring it to your client's needs, your customer needs, to your needs. So let's go ahead and click off there. Okay. Good on time. All right, so markers is pretty simple. Everybody knows line markers and masking, I hope. So if I wanted to highlight a certain portion of text, I can do that horizontally or vertically. Go ahead and click that on. This will do the masking, or you do the line markers here, you turn them on and off. And when if I wanted to move that around, it's really, really simple. I'll do that. Let me show you with masking. It makes it a little bit easier. Oh, and this is actually controls the thickness of the line. So sometimes people don't like the line being really, really large. They want it a little bit thinner. So that'll control that. So let's go to the masking real quick. I like that one. So now maybe that window's not big enough. Maybe it's in the wrong position. Maybe I want to move it around. Again, customize. So what I can do is I can grab that window, just move it up and down. Pretty simple. I can also take this to move that window size a little bit different, a little bigger size. Again, moving it around, pretty simple. If I didn't want it, now let's just go ahead and get rid of that. Let's go ahead and get rid of the windows. That, and now no more markers or masking. Simple. Now the window one is not one I use a lot. This is kind of an area that you use for like split screen, especially on a laptop. because you may not want a full screen of the transformer image. You may want just a partial. Maybe you want to work with a document. Maybe you want to work with, doing something on the internet. Maybe you're pointing it at the classroom and then you're taking notes on a document. That's something you can do with this product. So I'll just go ahead and minimize that. All this does is this just allows for the window to be placed in different areas of the screen. You can see that. Go back to here. Windows, and again, there's some hotkeys for this. So if you wanted split screen, in the top half of the screen, you can do that. Again, it's kind of nice. Again, you have that kind of audible feedback of what you're doing so you don't get lost. So let's just go ahead and make that one bigger again. All right, and let me just go ahead and change that a little bit. I'll just put it over here. Okay, so now you imagine you're working with, you're doing some work reading a book. But I need to maybe work on a document here. Let me just go ahead and open one of these, something like this here. Hold on one second. Okay. So now, let's see here. Let's go ahead and put. Again, you're kind of limited. You have to make the size appropriate to your needs. But again, if I wanted to work on a document, I could do test. I could do that at the same time. Now, there is one thing really important to remember. This comes into play with the magnification software as well, is that, the window needs to be active in order to use it. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, if I'm working on a Microsoft document and then I'm thinking, oh, I can do something with the transformer image, for example, let me just go to the next color mode. I'll just hit C. Nothing's happening. What's going on? Because you have really kind of this window open. This window's in the background, so you need to kind of bring it forward in order to work with it. So if you're going to work with that window, two things. You can either A, click on it, right? And then I can do, see, there you go. So now I activated that window. Or you can do what's called, let me just go to color mode. There's a hotkey to remember, and it's what is called Control-Alt-G. Control-Alt-G. And what that does is it automatically brings the transformer window into focus. So let's just do that. And Control-Alt-G, boom, makes the window the predominant image that you see. And now we're back to working with the transformer. So there's a shortcut to do that. Either click on the partial window or do the Control-Alt-G, and that brings you to the full window, which is kind of nice. So let's just keep it like that. So that's a little trick, a little tip, a little information about how you work with that. So let's go ahead and go back here. All right, so we talked about these. Now let's go to settings real quick. What is all this stuff? What is this? Well, color mode selection, again, this goes back to selecting the various modes that you want to display on the product. So if you don't want all these modes, you just maybe want high contrast negative, you want color, that's fine. Turn the rest off. Super easy. This, here, let me just do this here. This is your resolution, okay? Now, right now, how this product is configured, we have a 1080p full HD image at 30 frames a second. If you want to pull the resolution down a little, you'll get 60 frames a second. The real difference between 30 and 60 frames a second is how quickly the image responds when you're moving it under the camera. So I recommend that if you're using a laptop, and if you have a customer or a person that really wants to do a lot of reading, maybe they're a fast reader, change it to the 720/60, because that's going to actually work a little bit better. You might see less smear, you might see less fade. It would tend to work a little bit better. So just a one little tip. So the other thing that people forget about is they forget about white balance. I find this really important because especially when you're looking at color, sometimes the lighting in the room or the environment you're using the product in, the image can be very yellow, can be like really cold and blue and so forth like that. But just clicking this, it allows you to change the temperature of the image that you're looking at. To me, I kind of like the neutral, although usually with a factory It's usually set up as auto, so it'll automatically adjust depending on where you're pointing the camera, but it's your preference, how you want to see the image. I think this is a nice little feature to have. You don't have to worry about too much about this. All of our European units are configured for 50 Hertz, which is typically the lighting, the operating standard for the lighting. Over in Europe, over in the North America market, we run on 60 Hertz. Right now I'm at 60 Hertz here. Left-handed mode, all that is if you really want to use it, if you're using it in this configuration versus this configuration, if you're working with your left hand, is you want to actually click left-handed mode. And the reason is because it will keep the magnification tables correct when you're looking, not so much for looking down, but when you're looking at distance, because you'll have a higher range of distance magnification than you will looking at self. So you want to make sure those are oriented properly. Pretty simple. You don't have to worry about it too much though. Like a lot of times, again, I use the transformer a lot this way, and I just like it this way just because it will give me a lot of room to move material. And I can still take the camera and pan. I can also pan around the base, as you can see, because the base rotates. They're pretty simple. So keyboard shortcuts are basically, yes, I want to have the ability to adjust the transformer with hotkeys. Those are enabled. Audio input, it's not so important. It depends on how you want to hear the sound out of the unit, you know, especially if I'm connected to a monitor. The language, this is just tells me my default language. This is product information. It just tells me the version of the transformer, the serial number for the transformer, the firmware version. All this really is just remember that this exists on the product. So if for some reason, if you ever had a technical problem and you need to call tech support, they're going to ask you for the serial number. They're going to ask you maybe, okay, what version of software are you using? This is where you get it, okay? Of course, our tech guys can always walk you through this and tell you where that's at, but this is a good idea or a nice thing to know about if you're having an issue with the transformer and you want to solve it pretty quickly with our help of our tech support. Down here is restore factory settings. All that does, let me go ahead and get out of that. The restore factory settings is that if you change a lot of things, because the product does have memory, and so we'll remember, obviously certain modes and so forth and things you do to the product. So if you were to disable a number of color modes that you did not like, but then you want to turn around and show the product in its factory default form to another customer, you can restore factory settings and the whole unit will reset and revert back to that. So there you go. Not much else to see here. The only last thing is that on this help screen here, this just gives you an indication of what those hotkeys are. It's like it's just a list of, okay, if you want to switch the camera, you hit this button. If you want to zoom in, zoom out, you press up arrow, down arrow. Pretty simple. Okay, so you don't need that. And I'll show you this. I want to go ahead and talk about OCR. One of the hotkeys I definitely tell all people to remember is the Control C, because that will always switch you from the live camera to the OCR camera. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's review a document here. So I'm going to do Control C. It says switching camera up here. Now we have the text in the window. Key thing here is to kind of position the text properly within the window. Now I have a smaller book than normal. It's a little bit more, it's not the standard full page size like this. Key thing to remember is we do know that because of visual impairment, it is difficult to sometimes line up materials within the window. It is kind of something we're thinking about, we're trying to work on. This is the best we have at this time. So, but what I tell people to do is you just want to put the text you want read visible in the window only. Because if you have partial text here, then when I press OCR, it's going to try to read some of this. You don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'll move it over here, and the hotkey for scanning OCR, or you can go back into the drop down, is Control E. Just remember Control C, switch over the camera, and OCR are back. Control E to process OCR. Let's do that. Now, depending on the complexity of the document, this is a pretty straightforward document, but if you have a magazine or something that has a lot of, I might have just interrupted the OCR. There we go.
Truly find their work greatly facilitated.
Okay,
The mayor would find
that was pretty quick. If you notice, let me go ahead and stop that. As you notice, it's pretty quick on a standard size book. I mean, that was what, less than 10 seconds. So that's a pretty quick result. Again, on more complex materials, books and magazines that have something like this, it may take a little longer because it's got pictures, some unusual characters. Those always typically you can make mistakes on. So that's something to take note on. But let's show how let's run the OCR, and I'll show you how some of these controls work. So let's go ahead, and what's kind of nice is I can click on any area of the screen. Also, if I want it bigger, I just make it bigger. Everything kind of wraps in to that window, and the image quality is really, really good. So maybe I want it to, let me go ahead and turn it to high contrast negative. And then let me just go ahead and click here.
Surely find their work greatly facilitated. The mayor would find that, in addition.
Pretty simple. This, again, will allow you to save the document or recall it. So if I wanted to save this, I didn't want to have the whole page read to me right now. Maybe I wanted to scan a couple pages and then just have them read to me later, something important that I need to share with someone else. I can do that. The keys, the hotkeys are the same that you're using on the live camera as you are the OCR. So if I want to make it bigger or smaller, I can do that. Again, we went over the color mode here.
See next prefer.
That will allow me to change the colors. These are the wheel of what modes I have possible. This here, what this will do once I'm reading.
Mayor would find that. In addition,
again, I just click on the screen if I want to stop. If I want to go back to the beginning of the document, I can click this here. This. So basically, it started at the beginning of the document again. So let's go ahead and stop. And what I'm reading, if you notice, there's a snail figure and a rabbit figure. So if I wanted to slow it down,
in addition to all the multiple special interests, there was a constituency for the.
I can slow it down or speed it up just by clicking those icons. The other thing I have is if I want to have a male voice, maybe I change it over to a different gender, I can do that.
Knitting together 109 short.
Let's put that here.
Mayor would fund that.
See how that changes right over?
Special interests. There was a constituency for the whole.
I apologize, but my speakers on the laptop, they don't sound that great. I always recommend if you're demonstrating, if you're a distributor, for example, you want to show the unit to clients, you want to demonstrate it to a large audience, get yourself some external speakers for a laptop because the sound is great. On an iPad, you don't really need that, but on a laptop, sometimes the speaker quality definitely could be better. So that's kind of the OCR, super easy. Again, remember that Control-C to switch over the camera, and remember that Control-E to start OCR. Now I'll go ahead and click on the OCR window here. What that'll do is that'll get me back to the window that takes me out of the reading mode and back to the OCR window. So again, Control-C, boom. That will switch the camera back over from the OCR. It's a nice camera too. It's 13 megapixel dedicated camera, really good quality. It does a good job. So here's our live image again. Really, really simple. So that's it on a Windows laptop. Check the time here. We're doing okay. I'm going to show you an iPad next. Now, when you shut everything down, pretty simple. Just make sure you shut the application down here like this, and go ahead and hit the power button and just press it for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You usually hear something that makes a sound that tells you it's off and no lights are on. This unit's off. Cool. Now let's show you, now let me show you over here with the iPad. We've got about 8:43. We're doing pretty good on time. So the key with the iPad is, well, for one, it communicates to the iPad wirelessly. I think that's great because you don't have any wires here. I'm going to go ahead and switch over this HDMI cable just so you can see the icons a little bit bigger here. Let's do that. Let's put that in place. Hopefully that comes. Yeah, there we go. So the key is you need to go, in order to get the Enhanced Vision Transformer app onto your iPad, you just go to the Apple App Store. On an Android tablet, you just go to the Google Play Store and you just need to download it. It's Enhanced Vision Transformer HD, really simple to work with and really simple to download. So right now I have it downloaded here, but now you need to have the transformer communicate to the iPad wirelessly. And what it does is it will, every transformer inside here, let me pull this up here, it has a kind of a built-in Wi-Fi hotspot. So it will, as soon as you turn it on, it's looking for a connection option, okay? Just go and put it there. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, what's one key thing I tell people with the transformer with an iPad is, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open the settings tab, and I'm gonna go ahead and look at Wi-Fi here. Now, watch this. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the unit on. Let me make sure I got my, got charged battery, that's always important. By the way, you don't necessarily need the external charger just to charge the battery. If you want to just charge it in the unit, you just plug in the power supply. It takes about 4 hours to charge that battery up. So now, look at this. I have something that says transformer. So let's go ahead and select that. That's my Wi-Fi network. Okay. So let's go ahead and connect that. All right, cool. All right. So now let's go ahead and pull up the transformer image. Let's do that. Takes a couple seconds to connect. Okay, there we are. No wires, speaking via Wi-Fi, wirelessly, pretty cool. Let me move this out of the way here. There's a key, two things to remember when you're connecting via Wi-Fi, the transformer to an iPad. One is that the Wi-Fi signal in the transformer is strong, but it's not really, really strong. So do not place your transformer way over here or really far away from it because it won't get the signal properly. That's especially important if you are in a crowded conference, even like SightCity, where a lot of Wi-Fi signals are bottlenecking, competing, then you want to keep your transformer pretty close to the iPad. It's something we're looking at boosting, the Wi-Fi hotspot. It's definitely something that we want to improve. So I have it pretty close. Obviously, it's working well. And so that's no issue at all. So the way you work with the product is pretty simple. And remember I mentioned early on in this demonstration how you can change things with pinching motions. So what's kind of nice is if I just pinch like this, I can do that. So I can make it bigger or smaller. Now everything's touchscreen, so you obviously don't have hotkeys anymore. So you have to go into the menu and select the options that you want. One of the other things that a lot of people ask about, and I'll just answer it right now, is that, well, John, you connected the transformer via the internet, via Wi-Fi, to your Wi-Fi channel. Can I still browse the internet? The answer is no. There's only one channel in and one channel out. You do not have multiples. So if that's really, really important to you, then, maybe the laptop option where you have, you can connect via USB 3, then you can still go to the internet. You can do multiple things at the same time that may be more important. But again, on an iPad or an Android tablet, it's only one way in, one way out. So just to let you know that right up front. So working with the iPad is pretty simple. So again, you have a lot of similar options. These are all touch. So this is my save and recall, just like we had on the other product. Let's go back here. If camera, this will convert to the, this will allow me to go to the OCR. This will go to freeze. See, I'm just kind of scrolling now through the option. All those options I mentioned earlier are available here. This is video recording, no audio at this time, something we definitely are working on, just to let you know. Let's see what else we got. We have display. Again, lights on and off, different color modes. If I did that, turn the lights on and off, pretty simple. Let's go back here. Markers, this is kind of cool because you can just basically touch the screen here. Let's go here. I can grab it, move it around. I can also just by touch, I can make the bars bigger, the space bigger if I wanted to. So let's go back to markers. Let's get rid of that one here. Let's go here. And the last one is settings. This is a lot what I've talked about earlier with different color modes. Different white balance modes, depending on how you want to see the image. there's ways to customize it. So one of the things I like on an iPad in particular is its OCR quality. It just sounds so good. So let's go ahead and scan an OCR here. I'm going to go ahead and go to the OCR camera. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to disconnect here because I want to hold it up and show you guys. I think it's a little, because it's a little bit easier that way. So let's go ahead and take that guy out. So I'm going to go ahead and place the image that I want scanned in the OCR window. And then I click the OCR button. This has some little bar charts and things like that on the document. So you'll notice it's probably taking a little bit longer. Well, let's just see how it goes. Give it another few seconds. If it doesn't scan, and we do it again. Okay, there we go.
IW aggressive portfolio is the current status of the
So,
domestic and international.
I think you guys can see that here.
There were no new.
So go ahead and stop that. I can also click on a, maybe I want to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, that's kind of cool. Maybe I want to click on, what does that say right there?
Optimum yield diversified commodity strategy. No.
Maybe I want to change the color mode. I can do that. Oh, that's nice. Keep going.
Recommended on May 14th last year. The total return in PD.
I want to go back to the beginning of the document.
IW aggressive portfolio.
I went back to the beginning of the document.
Status of the domestic.
So does that OCR just sound great? I mean, it really is. It's so pleasing to the ear. It just sounds really crisp and clean. Great speakers and obviously an iPad. And again, really easy to use, simple. There's not much to it. I think what's key is that, especially if you're going to OCR or something, you want to get a document that doesn't have a lot of what I call trouble in it, or a lot of landmines, a lot of weird pictures and weird characters and stuff like that, because it's gonna have some issues here and there. But that's going to be true with any OCR engine. So you just have to be mindful of that. So let's get out of this. So this will go back to the OCR window. Let's go back to the camera. Let's go back to the live. And I'll put that back here. Now, I moved the iPad really far away from the target, so it may not pick it up, but that's okay. So, so let's see here. Well, we're about 8:51. I think that's about all that I have at the moment. Sorry, I may have given you a lot of information in such a short period of time. Again, I'm going to move over to the computer. Maybe you can open up some things for questions. Again, my email is jdibble, D-I-B-B-L-E, first letter J, D-I-B-B-L-E, @vispero.com. So please email me if you have any questions. Now, let me see. I'm going to go off camera here. I'm going to see if I can get to my computer and see if we have any kind of questions here people may have. Okay. Okay. Let's go here. That's okay, I've basically allowed you all to unmute yourselves. So if you wanted to have a question, thank you, George Martos. No questions. Thank you, sir. Let's see, any questions? Let's see, we have some people dropping off. Let's see if Jan here. Hey, Jan Van Winkle, Mr. Belgium. Oh, wait, hold on one second. George has a question.
Hello, John.
Yes, Jan, how are you? How are you doing?
No, fine. How are you?
Good to hear your voice. It's been a while.
Yes.
How did this go? Did you learn anything? Any questions?
No, so far I think it was a very good presentation you've made, and
thank you.
Yes, it was very interesting. But it's a nice fresh up of the memory, so it's okay. Good.
I see a question from Stanislav. It's to everyone. He is asking the question about what languages do you have for OCR? Well, it's actually quite a bit. There's over 20 different languages. So we have German, Italian, Finnish, Norwegian. We do on some of the Eastern languages. We do have Russian. We do have some various other languages. If Stanislav, if you want to shoot me an email, I can send you the complete list of all the languages that we have. I'll be happy to send that to you, along with some technical detail on the transformer product itself, to remind you of the features that it has. So if you want to do that, that's fine. And I'll type it here. Feel free email me at jdibble@vispero.com. I give you that. Okay. And we got that. And let's see what else we have here. Number the names. I haven't recommended. There's Mr. Anthony Dodds. Hey, Anthony, are you there? Let's see if Anthony picks up the line. If not, that's okay. All right. Nope, no, nothing from Anthony. There we go. All right. And let's see. Jan, you have any questions? Jan Bloom, are you there? Can you hear me? Sorry, guys. I wish I could be there.
Hey, Jan. Yeah.
Hey, Jan. Do you have any questions or comments for the group, maybe?
No, not really. No, it's sorry, I will plug in my.
Yes, John. No,
better.
Yeah, this is much better. No, you were also Jan told you you are clear. It's a nice fresh up, and you did a good demonstration. Very good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I suppose if anybody, let's see in the chat window, can we make marketing material for this? As George is asking, yes, I can send you the files for translation if you like. So no problem. We have a marketing department. So if you wanted to have this product and you're interested in a flyer or some sort of material and you wanted to translate it into your local language, no problem with that. We do have some resources in-house that we might be able to help you with. But as Vispero, of course, as you may know, we have so many brands that we're working with at this time, that it may be quicker if we send you the files and you can do it on your own. Turkish, yeah. Let me check on. Let me check on Turkish for you, because that should be one of the languages that we have, so it should be no problem. Okay, no problem. I can do that. All right. And again, this presentation was recorded. I'll get it back from the SightCity people in a couple of weeks. I'll be happy to send it to everybody. I'm sure I'll have all of your information with the SightCity organizers since you guys registered for this. So I'll make sure to send it out. And again, take care of any questions that you might have. Let's see who else has got a question. Anybody else have any kind of questions? Any kind of problems? Any kind of obviously there may there could be issues with some laptops or something like that, and it's always something that we're working on. Any kind of if you have any feedback, please let us know, because again, we are looking much harder at this product now. We want to make this product better, and we really want to take the feedback that you all have as dealers and customers abroad and take that into account and do what we can to really make an excellent product. All right. Okay. And let's see here. I don't see any other questions yet. If you want to type in a question, I will be happy to answer it. Let's see here. We're okay. Transformer. Student of mine uses a transformer to an iPad, and the camera and iPad often lose a connection. Yeah, the way to solve that, Celia, is what happens a lot is that the iPad needs to be close. See, the iPad needs to be pretty close to the transformer because there's going to be other Wi-Fi signals in the room, and I think it's important to keep it close. Otherwise, if I were to move this, like for example. Now, what I'm seeing here is not necessarily the transformer image, as you may notice. The reason I lost that signal was because I moved the iPad all the way over here, and the transformer is way back here. So what happened was I lost my settings. Pull that real quick here, 2 seconds. I lost my Wi-Fi connection to the transformer, and I just need to re-engage it and restart it. So that's the one thing you need to pay attention to. The other thing that's real important on an iPad is that make sure when you shut it down, that it is in fact truly shut down. I've had this happen more and more times, that what happens is that I may see the transformer application. I need to double click the home key. And when I do that, I need to make sure that it's fully closed before I restart again, because if it's open in the background, your result may be a little not so pleasant. So keep the iPad a little closer to the transformer, your result should be better. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are about done. 8:59. I really appreciate all the time. And thanks so much for being here for this. It means so much to have all of you. Some of you I've known for, it seems like a lifetime, like Mr. Laurent, who happened to be on our call here. He is in the French market, and I have known him for 20 years, which is great. So I really appreciate everybody's attention. Again, jdibble@vispero.com. Send me any questions. I'll be happy to do what I can to help you guys out. Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.